Hello, my friends. Welcome to the end of year 3. Once again, I just want to say thank you so much for your support, from the liking and subscribing, and especially the comments. So I'm going to read some of the comments at the end of last episode that were awesome. Mateus said, Chris Carpenter already looking like he's going to be a Nepalese legend. Riley Frampton saying, Gordon Bell was rumored to go to FC Edmonton, but instead went to their rival in Calgary. Edmonton fans are probably fuming. Matt Bryan said, for Gordon Bell, if the team is playing 5 at the back, like a 3 center backs with wing backs, it isn't the end of the world to have one short center back. Kaleem was glad to see somebody moving away from a small Canadian team, because last time we did this, somebody got stuck. Lar Vicario Z has once again provided the pronunciation help about Nizhny Novgorod. And he typed it 3 times. Nizhny. You're going to have to say it at least one more episode, so please get it right. Hopefully I said it right. Nizhny. I'm pulling it up right now. I'll be sure to butcher it when we actually look at the player. He also pointed out that Greg and Joe Bridgeman should be playing each other in the next season if Joe primarily plays for Spartak M2, which is obviously very interesting. Liam the God Plays Gaming said the team that signed Baxter Greg didn't win a single game the season they got relegated. That's hilarious. And then Ben McRae, last thing here, said he's pretty sure that the CPL has a rule in place, essentially, that you have to have a certain number of players under a certain age in the match squad and a certain amount of homegrown talent. So maybe that led to some of the weird stuff with Gordon being played at center back. Maybe they had to make a substitution, and it's like you only have so many options on the bench. So I think that's kind of interesting. My friends, I'm really excited. Like, I think this is kind of where you start getting into the meat, where you're like, okay, are we actually gonna see like some crazy moves here, some crazy development? Let's go find out. I'm loving how much movement there is. I don't recall there being this much movement the last time we did this. Josh Payne has gone to Juve, and now again as a breakthrough prospect. So that's interesting. So he was at Prozowianka in Poland as a future prospect. Goes to Pescara as a squad player and then a regular starter because they got relegated. And now he's gone up the chain, obviously, to Juventus as a breakthrough prospect. He has the Wonder Kid media title up there. That's fascinating. He's got 10 under 21 caps. That's 5 more than he had last time. He's got his first under 21 goal. And my friends, 2 international caps. Like senior team national caps. He's worth $18.25 million on 12.75K a week, which is like 10 times as much as he was making at Pescara, which you might expect going to Juve. That makes sense. When did he go? Oh, right after we recorded. Is it because they got relegated? They came in. Wow. 600 grand seems like a deal. Now he's worth 18.25 million because he's at Juventus, right? But that seems like a deal to get a player of that stature. So let's get Pescara. Yeah, so they got relegated. Okay, so this is what we saw last time. They went down, and then before the start of the season, they picked him up. So he didn't even have to play in Serie C. That never happened. He immediately got picked up. He's had any crazy injuries? Pulled hammy, that's it, okay? So last season, he played in a bunch of, not even under 23, but like probably the under 19 level. 19 starts, 2 subs, because again, the senior team doesn't have 19 friendlies. That can't be accurate. 4 goals, 4 assists, 7-2-1, whatever. He made 1 league sub and 1 cup sub. The league sub, he wasn't even on there long enough to get a rating. The cup sub, he was on a 6.4, not the best. But I mean, really, when you look at it, like, this is good news, right? We now have a player at one of the top teams in the world. And it's only taken until really the end of year 2, right? But prior to the start of year 3, he's made his move. And now he's at a massive club. Obviously, I'm guessing they have superb training facilities. It was excellent. They really need to invest, those folks in Italy, okay? Excellent training facilities, excellent youth facilities. He's surrounded by talent. They've won the league since the beginning of time, is what it feels like. He's in a really good spot. So let's see. He's had a whole season at Juve. What's happened to his attributes? That's what I'm talking about. He's at 17 positive attribute changes and 2 negative, which is actually kind of surprising. So the 2 negative are his concentration is, no, not his concentration. His composure is gone. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 18. Nope, I'm just looking at it wrong. He had 19 positive changes. So I'm just going to read this list to you because I've marked it here. Dribbling, first touch, free kick taking, and heading are all up. Technique is up. All those, I think, by 1. Their heading is up actually by 2, which is kind of surprising for a guy who's 5'11". But whatever, he also dictates tempo now. Composure, concentration, determination, leadership, off the ball, positioning, vision, and work rate are all up. I mean, we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attributes that are glowing green, right? That's the 16 or above, right? Acceleration, agility, jumping reach, natural fitness, pace, and strength, all up. That is the power of making a move from a Serie B team that gets relegated to a Serie A team and not even really playing for them, right? Like playing at the, the youth level or whatever, but like being in those training facilities, being surrounded by those players has greatly impacted Josh. Is he the new leader in the pack now, do you think? Because that's a lot of changes in 1 year, and he's gotten 2 caps at the international level for Poland, who aren't slouches, I might add. That is kind of crazy. His contract is good. He started in August of 2022, so it's essentially a 4-year deal. He has no minimum release clause or anything like that, so he's probably going to be there for a while. He can get his yearly wage increase and all that kind of stuff, but that is absolutely massive. I'm excited for Josh. And most importantly, Josh picked up 4 pounds. I mean, and he grew an inch. Yay! I think it's funny. All right, next up, Joe Bridgeman, still at Spartak Moscow. Easy for me to say. He has put on a massive 7 more pounds. He's not grown, though. Also, Wonder Kid media description, 3.6 million value. He's up to 20.5 grand, my friends. He was on 7.5K the last time we saw him as a fringe player. He is now a regular starter, and he has an international cap at the senior level for Russia. That's a lot of changes. So is this a new, surely it's a new contract. Yes, he signed it the same month we recorded. At the end of the month, coming into the 2023 season, he signs a new contract. If he gets 4 more appearances, he goes up to 35,000 euro a week. He got a big loyalty bonus. It's a 4-year deal. So the second 4-year deal we've seen today. Okay, this is this season. Last season, he played. Okay, it was in a mix. Okay, between the reserves, right? The team that plays in the first division, Spartak M2 versus Spartak Moscow, the senior team. But he did get 13 starts and 2 subs in the league. So I wonder if they had like an injury or something like that, and he had to come in with a goal and 2 yellow cards on a 6-8-3. So he held his own, right? As a young kid coming in, held his own. A cup start, a continental start, and an international start. Only 1 goal in any of those, and it was actually at the continental level, which is kind of hilarious. The Cup of the Continental on a 6.8. The International, he did a 7.4. We'll take a look to see who it was against, but, never terrible. And then, obviously, playing at the division below, he had 10 starts and a goal and assist on a 7.02. So has he kind of, he caught their attention? He did well, or, my friends, was it like some horrific injury that has led to this? So let's go investigate a couple of those things, and then we'll look at his attributes. Okay, so what we can confirm is it wasn't, if it was a horrific injury, it happened before the 3rd game of the season, because he started the 3rd game of the season against Akhmat for some reason. And if you happen to know why this happens, I can't see what happened July 22nd of last season or the 10th or anything before that. I can't see. I could see these, but it doesn't show the who played, which is weird because it shows it here. So is it because we're now in the same month that this happened that Football Manager wipes it out? That's very odd, but he's making appearances here. So unless somebody got some horrific injury, which we can't see, right, in the friendlies, the Super Cup final, or the first 2 games of the season, he's starting games, right? He started all of these games. He did not start, it looks like, in the Europa League, which is kind of interesting. But he goes back to starting in the league, again, not in the Europa League. And then there's more blanks. So I'm not sure why I can see some of these, but not all of these. Or maybe they, for this, he's not he comes on as a sub here. So maybe they got somebody back from injury or something like that. But he's back to starting in February. So again, some of these I'm really confused as to why you can't see, you can see some of the rosters but not all of the rosters. That's kind of interesting. Is it because, no, I was gonna say, is it home and away? No, because you could see some of the away legs. So it wasn't some massive injury that led to him getting this contract. We can be fairly confident of that. Or I should say, if it happened before the third game of the season, because he started a bunch of games after that. So it wasn't like, somebody left as well. That's the other thing. It's not like somebody left in the January window or something like that, and then he becomes the starter, right? Like, he was already starting games. So that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of interesting. His game was against Poland. You know what that means, my friends? He may have played against Josh Payne. Let's go take a look. What was the competition we're playing in here? Let's just click Poland. Let's go find out when they played Russia. It was a friendly. Okay, so it was a friendly. He comes on as a sub, doesn't, again, isn't on long enough to even get a rating. Will it show us the Polish roster? Josh Payne is on the bench. Is that when he made his appearances? Let's go find out. Yes, so they are two of the kids from the same age that played against each other as like really late substitutes, right? So like nothing crazy, but really late substitutes. So we've had our first like international clash, just like, you said in the comments, it might happen. So there you go. That's happened. Now let's go take a look at the attributes. Tons of changes for Joe's attributes. A couple of them are up by 2. Namely, agility is up by 2 from a 13 to a 15. His jumping reach has gone from an 11 to a 13. I think those are the 2 most likely that have been up by 2. The rest are all 1. But you've got dribbling, finishing, heading, long shots, long throws, marking, penalty taking, technique, anticipation, composure, concentration, flair, leadership, positioning, vision, work rate. And then balance, natural fitness, pace, stamina, strength. Or strength is also up by 2. Another Wonder Kid designation. Got 3 green, 16 plus attributes, decisions, work rate, and stamina. Things are looking really good. Now he's a regular starter at a high, like, I'm not going to say the Russian Premier League is the highest level, but he's at the top of Russia, and he's making good income. Now the question will be, will he and Pekka decide, hey, this is a good place to kind of sit pat for a couple seasons and kind of really develop? Or will they say, like, it's time to make an even bigger move? Like, let's go to Ligue 1 or let's go to the Bundesliga or something like that. What do you think is going to happen with Joe? Again, right-footed right back, hasn't picked up any center back minutes. I'm kind of disappointed. I thought you would see a red dot on the wing back, right? Or a midfield right or winger, because I think he's got the physicals to get up and down the pitch, but he's being used as that right back with 11 tackling. If he's going to be a really elite right back, I think his tackling has got to improve, as well as his crossing, first touch, stuff like that. Do you agree? Liam Flanagan is still with HNK Gorica. Yeah? 1.5k a week, up 100 euros. Contract end date is the same, so that's probably just his like 5% annual increase, wage increase. How did he do? He's got 4 caps now. He had no caps for Paraguay. So he's capped at the senior level. Fantastic. And how did he do? They picked him up on a free. 24 starts, 1 goal, 2 assists, 4 players of the match on a 6.93. Not a bad first season. You like a little bit more goals, but he is a center back. So, maybe they're not as, involved on the set pieces or something like that. 2 cup starts, though, on a 7.9. And then his 4 internationals on a 7.22. So he's done well. Again, we'll take a look to see what were those internationals. Are they just all friendlies against like really small competition, or what? Has he had any crazy injuries? Ooh, another calf strain. That was a different player, but his calf strain just happened in May for 4 weeks. But again, nobody's had like a crazy broken leg or anything like that. Again, it's not a new contract. It's the same contract that he had prior. Let's go take a look at the form here. He played Saudi Arabia, South Korea, Jamaica, and Iran. I'm guessing those are all friendlies. Yeah, friendlies leading up to the Gold Cup. So let's take a look here. They didn't make the Gold Cup. So he's played, if we go back, yeah, all in friendlies, which again isn't terrible. They haven't had a competition to play in yet. So maybe he gets involved in World Cup qualifying. He didn't get called up for, I don't think, the South African. That's not on his list. So that might be a little concerning that he's not being involved, but he's being played as a ball-playing defender, which you love to see, and he's going the full 90 as the center back. So, that's all right. Playing for his club team, all ball-playing defender, did get a red card straight sent off in the 16th minute. Sent off, right? No, sent off at 45. Sorry, that's not minutes. Sent off at the... Man, he got sent off at halftime. That's crazy. And then obviously suspended for 3 games, and then comes back and picks up a yellow and gets suspended again. So not really what you want to see. But doing all right. Yeah. 6 foot 378 pounds. He added 7 pounds and an inch to his height. So he's not listed, you'll note, as a wonder kid. He's listed just as a center back. So that's an interesting thing. Let's take a look at his attributes here. What's changed? At the end of the day, good physical development, not so good on the technical side. Like, only 3 things on the technical side have gone up. His dribbling has gone from a 4 to a 5, which if you're going to play as a ball-playing defender, you kind of need. His heading has gone from a 12 to 13, and his long throws has gone from a 5 to a 6. Again, those center back attributes, but his tackling hasn't gotten any better. His marking hasn't gotten any better. That's a little concerning. I mean, his technique's really good. Again, ball-playing defender, but like when your dribbling is so poor, would like to have seen a little bit more there. His decisions, determination, leadership, positioning, and work rate have all gone up by 1. He's now got 18 on positioning, which is really good, to go with his now 18 jumping reach, which went up. Essentially, all of his physical attributes except natural fitness went up by 1, which is kind of crazy. So lots of physical development. Again, you're not expecting his corners and crossing to get amazing. He's a 6'3" center back. He's the guy that's on the end of the crosses, right? So that positioning, that heading is going to be important. But it's interesting that, I think I'd set him up as a ball-playing defender as like his preferred role, and that's what he's being used as. And he's got the passing to do that and the first touch to do that. He just has to work on the vision, some of these other things, and see if he can kind of keep clawing away and becoming a better and better player. Also, he's now a regular starter. He was a squad player when we last saw him, so that's changed as well. But has he... I don't know. He's got 2 years left. Has he kind of outgrown? I know he just got there, right? And he just did a 6'9" but like, is he good enough to get picked up this coming season by somebody, or is it? Do we think he needs to marinate for another season? All right, Brian McGee is still at Colo Colo. That doesn't really surprise me. Has picked up, I can't remember if that was a red dot or an orange dot, but he's definitely picking up some minutes, I think, at the center back position. Okay, he's added 5 pounds. He's not grown any taller, so, disappointing, Brian. He now has 2 senior caps. He only had the 2 under 20 caps, so that's changed. He is at 1.9K a week. He was on 675 as a squad player. He's now an important player worth 1.4 million. So his value has tripled. His wages have tripled. So that has to be a new contract, doesn't it? Yes. August of last year, right after the end of year 2, signs a new deal. Ooh, a minimum release clause to foreign clubs of 3.5 million. So if somebody from Europe is going, I'd like a left back that's got really good physicals and some decent technicals and mentals that I want to pick up, give me a call, right? So that's interesting. Again, not a lot of green here, right? In these first 2 columns, it's definitely that physical South American player needs to develop those technicals, but that's interesting that he's now an important player, right? So like, what led to that, right? So let's go back and look at again, we have to look at like the second half of last season and the first half of this season because of the calendar year. Ends up with 11 starts, 2 subs on a 6.95, 4 cup starts on a 6.53, 5 continental starts on a 7.12, obviously significantly better there. And then this first half of the season, 14 league starts with a goal and an assist from the left back position there on a 7.01, much better. A 7.24 in the cup, much better. A 6.7 in continental, and a 6.55 in international, which is not great, but he's a young player, right? He's a young player. Has he had any crazy injuries? No, thank goodness. None of that has happened. From a form standpoint, okay, we're seeing lots of fullback and wingback, right? But still in that left back spot, right? It's not like the wingback in a back 5. Looking at Chile, he played against Senegal and Nigeria. He started both games. That's kind of surprising. That just happened in March. So again, let's just take a look here. I'm guessing those are friendlies. Yes. Chile, both of those are friendlies, and they lost both of them. Not ideal, really. But at least he's now cap tied to Chile. He's got the minimum fee release clause. Obviously, he's worth 1.4, so that's more than double. The 3.5 is more than double his current value. That's kind of interesting. I'm curious if he'll get a move or if he's going to kind of like marinate here for a while. I know I've used marinate a couple times this episode. Maybe it's a word I'm enjoying today. I don't know. Let's take a look at the attributes, shall we? I mean, it's not bad. Maybe he's just he's a late bloomer. Okay, so his technique and his concentration have gone up 2. So that's good. That's nice. The rest, you get dribbling, first touch, heading, long throws, marking, all up by 1. You've got anticipation, decisions, leadership off the ball, and vision all up by 1. And then physicals, I thought there'd actually be more physical development, although maybe you argue he's, physically pretty good already from an acceleration standpoint and all that kind of stuff. So the only physical attributes that changed were his jumping reach went up by 1. His stamina and strength also went up by 1. So, okay, that's all right. That's all right. The club last season won the division. That also happened last season. And again, shout out to Eduardo Valente, who's part of my community, who has put together the spreadsheet that I'm looking at that like makes these notes. Absolutely fantastic. Makes my life a lot easier in terms of being able to recognize the changes that have happened to the players. So thank you, Eduardo. So I guess, what are your thoughts on Brian? Is he going to get a move, or is he going to be in Colo-Colo for at least another season? I think for $3.5 million, that seems like a bit of a bargain to get a 6'3" left back. That somebody, but would somebody just train him because his crossing isn't so great? Would somebody just train him as a center back? Because he's got, he's also got the center back attributes. That would be really interesting to find out. Let's see. All right, my friends, it's Baxter Greg at Nizhny Novgorod. Did I say it right? Like button if I did, or comments if I didn't, I guess, is how that'll end up. So he's still there. Star player. Now has 7 caps internationally. Senior team with a goal. He only had under 20 caps prior to that. So that's a big change. Wait, no. Looking at the wrong player on the spreadsheet. Please hold. Correction. He had no caps. Wowzers. Okay. And he was on 1.4K a week. Last time we saw him, he was at $6,000 now. So new contract. His contract was up in a year on June 30th of 2024. He's now on a deal. That's interesting because that means he's signed a new deal to stay in the Russian Premier League. So he's playing against the other one. Is that Joe Bridgeman that's at Spartak Moscow? I think so. Yes. Go on, memory. Yes, he's playing against Joe Bridgeman in the same league. But so he signed that new contract. He just signed the contract like a month ago. So that's different, and it's a 5-year deal. So is that a settling, or is that you need to pay me or I'm leaving, and they finally ponied up, but then they can sell him on? He does have that minimum fee release clause to clubs in a continental competition of 14 million, and if they get relegated, an 8.5 million euro clause, which is interesting. But they can do the 1-year contract extension, so they can this can become a 6-year deal. Now, okay, so they got promoted. That's what it is. They got promoted, so he signs a new deal because he has a year left. They got promoted. They get the money coming in because they're at the top level, and they say, hey, Baxter Greg, we love you. Here's a contract. And he's like, I'm willing to stay, but I want to be able to leave if something bad happens, right? If we get relegated or if I become so valuable that somebody wants to come in and buy me. Now, 14 million is, 12 or 13 times his current value, something like that. So how likely is that? Not sure. Let's see how he did in their push to get promoted. Now he only gets, this is kind of interesting. So they pick him up on a free, and then he only gets 17 starts. You'd think he would have gotten more, right? 17 starts, a goal, and 2 assists on a 7.05, so he did fine. A 7.4 and 1 cup start. And then internationally, the 7 starts, a goal, 2 assists, a player of the match on a 7.26 looks very good. Did he have a bad injury? Oh, yes, he did. Against Khabarovsk. I think that's the club I did the series on a couple FMs ago. Go back and watch that. August 14th of last year, he's out to essentially start the season for 2 months. And then from there, I'm sure it's you got to earn your spot back, right? And come off that injury. And it's not like he did a ton of rehab games, right? He only has 4 starts and a sub in non-competitive games, but he has to kind of like work his way back in, and then he plays the 17 starts. And so that's also interesting. Like, coming off a torn hamstring, you'd think it'd be like, he gets like a couple substitute appearances. Like, let's ease him back in with that injury. Nope. Let's just wait till he's fully ready to go. 17 starts, and we get promoted. So that's like our first really bad injury. Also not listed as a wonder kid. He's a hardworking midfielder, which again, he's now got both of the, midfield or DM roles on lockdown. Bright green, none of this dark green stuff. He's got it on lockdown. Development, though, I think has taken a hit probably because of that injury. Like, that obviously didn't help. Let's go take a look at the attributes here and see how good or bad it's been. All right, it's not all bad. It's just not great. Now, again, that's in the first division. We'll take a look at their facilities here in a second to see if they're going to improve them or something like that. So he's playing at a higher level now, and that's good. He's now star player, so that's good. Like, that's, he's got to get guaranteed starts now, right? He's a star player. But corners and marking are the only attributes on the technical side that went up, and they only went up by 1. Nothing else really changed. Now, you could argue his first touch and his tackling are also already really good, but she's like, like, you'd want that to be a little bit better. But, having a significant injury like that and missing the start of the season is going to impact your development. On the mental side, anticipation, bravery, composure, and positioning are all up 1. And then physically, it's agility, natural fitness, pace, and stamina. This, I think, is what's going to hold him back. These attributes here, he doesn't have the wheels, right? The legs to get going. He doesn't have the physical attributes to run up and down the pitch, to stay fit. I wonder if he's played more in an anchorman role. Like, let's take a look at some of these things. So they've been primarily playing him as a central midfielder rather than a DM. So he started out as a DM. And again, this is not going to show us every start, but it goes back to November of last year. So he's playing as a midfield center or central midfielder. Now, that doesn't tell us if he's on defend or support or attack or automatic. It doesn't really matter at that point. And he's not even making the full 90 because, again, probably that natural fitness is holding him back. So he's getting, he's out there. He's doing his job. I just think that might hold him back just a little bit. Let's take a look at their facilities. Adequate training facilities. So that's a problem. So you've signed a long-term star player contract with a club with just adequate training facilities. It's great that he's going to get minutes from a star player standpoint, but I think it's really going to hinder his development because of the lack of facilities. Even if they start investing in him now, they're not going to be here this season. We'll go to the end of next season. They're still going to have adequate facilities, right? Like, or they will have just upgraded them. So that's not really good. And then from international standpoint, I'm going to pull up. This is the fastest way I can think of to pull up their schedule here. So he gets 7 appearances. Okay, did he play against Mongolia, Guam, or Northern Mariana? Or Sri Lanka? Let's go look. He plays against, both Sri Lanka games in March, and Kyrgyzstan and Nepal in June. And just as a reminder, okay, these 2 are friendlies, but the Sri Lanka games were World Cup qualifying. And obviously it looks like they did not make it. Or, wait. First round, second leg. Yeah, they were knocked out. Okay, so it's a knockout. Yeah. I'm catching up. I'm catching up here. He started in the game against Nepal. I'm guessing, kind of a spoiler here, Chris Carpenter on an 8.3, so he started, or at least was there. So that's good. That's good. Interesting time. So, I mean, it's not necessarily going to be a bad career. I hate to bury Greg's career right now at 19. I just think the lack of facilities and the lack of his physical attributes are really going to hold him back from a value standpoint. I could be wrong. Maybe they get relegated and somebody like with better facility picks him up. That's kind of like almost kind of what you hope for, right? Like somebody comes in and says, I'll give you 8 million or 8.5 or whatever it is. And we move him on to someplace else so he can actually develop. Next up, we've got Mr. Kev, still with Montpellier. has 8 caps, had none the last time we saw him, and has an international goal. So we will be sure to check that. I wonder if that's like Gold Cup or Gold Cup qualifying or something like that for the Dominican Republic. So we will check on that. Still a fringe player, so he's not pushed on to being a squad player, regular starter, star player, anything like that. His value is almost doubled from 450 to 775. He hasn't put on any weight. Mate, you're in the land of wine and like bread. Like baguettes. What's up, brother? Go eat. Go out to eat. And he's only gone from 2.3 to 2.5K a week. Contract has been extended, though, by a year. So that is a new deal. Or did I just miss that last time? Or did they have like an automatic extension or something like that? I have it here that it was 2025. This is 2026, and it was... We would have seen it last episode, so maybe I just missed it. How did he do? Oh, he plays in the reserves team. Montpellier 2. 12 starts, a sub, 6 goals on a 6.96. So not bad. You know, like, they're playing at the National 2, you know, maybe that's Group D division. I'm not as familiar with the French league. And obviously, this season has just started. So he did not even make a friendly appearance for the senior team last year. He goes straight into the reserves backups situation. Also gets the 4 starts, goal, and assist on a 7.25 in international. So that's good. And obviously, we're talking a huge step up, right? You're going from the Dominican Republic League to Ligue 1. Like, I'm, you know, maybe not expecting him to immediately come in and be a starter, but you'd think with something like this, he might have made like a, you know, an appearance, but maybe it's harder as the strikers. Like you might be more likely to give your, you know, a midfielder that has a midfield partner or something like that, a young kid, a substitute appearance in like the 78th minute, right? Versus a striker. Also, I think his concentration is really not helping him. Has he had like any injuries? He had a calf strain. That was the other calf strain. Tight thigh concussion. So nothing like, no broken legs, no out for 2 months, right? Like we saw in the last player. Now that he's at a team, Montpellier, with their facilities being good and great youth facilities, let's see what has changed on his attributes. Okay, so it's not all bad. The lack of appearances with the senior team is not great, but he's, you know, he is a young player. He's a fringe player contract, right? He's coming into the season, he's 19, so like it's not all bad. This is, again, the value of being at a club with actual facilities, right? So the easier way to tell it, the only technical attributes that did not go up or change was long shots and tackling. Everything else is up by 1. Everything on the technicals. From a mental standpoint, anticipation, decisions, off the ball, teamwork, and work rate all up by 1. Again, you'd really like to see some work on the concentration, maybe. That would be good. But it's already got, you know, again, 15s here. He's really close to having some bright green glowing attributes for us. And then every single one of his physicals went up by 1. So, developing. Not all bad news. Bad news in that he didn't get a senior team appearance. Good news in that tons of attributes are changing. He's 19. He's got a ways to go. It's not like he's 28. We've got time for Mr. Kev to turn into the Wonder Kid. Now, he's not listed as a Wonder Kid. So, like, I want to note the end of today's episode. Does your vote change? Do you think, you know, whoever you thought last 2 episodes was the player with the highest potential, is it still the same or has it changed? I almost forgot, but let's look at his appearances, okay? Now this says he played for the senior team. Am I blind? He doesn't. He doesn't have anything for the senior team. It's not even listed up here. This is all the reserves. I guess that must have been a... That doesn't make sense that there's a Continental. Now, does there? He was on the bench for a Continental, and maybe... But it's showing that he was... They played Hertha. Okay, December 20th. In a friendly. But it doesn't show up here as being a senior team appearance. Like Montpellier 2 didn't play Hertha in a friendly. I'm glad we looked at this. I'm confused. I want to see how he's being used. Advanced forward all the way. Okay, so he's an advanced forward. Cool. Dominican Republic. Advanced forward. Wow. Okay. Off in the 35th minute. Off in the 38th minute. El Salvador, Anguilla. Okay, let's go take a look. Of course, it's not going to show us who played in the game because, you know, that would be convenient now, wouldn't it? He's starting, at least in the Nations League. Okay, so he's getting, I'm guessing that's where all those, and obviously Anguilla is here. So he's getting starts in the Nations League, and they actually did really well. They won their group. So good for them on 16 points. So it's not just friendlies that he's playing in. Now, obviously, they played friendly since then because there's not international stuff going on right now. But, you know, getting some actual international appearances is always a good thing, right? All right, next up, it's our Nepalese player, Chris Carpenter, still of Mouscron. Still a fringe player. He's gotten a €500 a week raise. His contract is now a year longer. Again, it must have been the automatic extension thing because we would have seen that contract, I think, based on this being July 2nd is when I'm doing the end of each year. Well, that's interesting. 5 caps. He had 3, so he's gotten 2 more. Last season ends up with, in the league, okay, so he's getting league appearances. Good. 12 starts, 7 subs, 4 goals, 5 assists, 5 players of the match on a 7.3. That's lighting it up, and they got promoted. You could tell they're from Pro League B to Pro League A. But he also had 2 cup starts and 2 subs in the cup on a 7.43. His international appearances, he's up to 7.74 average over those 5. It must have been that there were some earlier in 2022 and then in the fall of 2022. Obviously, he doesn't have many appearances because of the league calendar thus far, but they've been promoted. Now, I can't remember what their facilities look like. Great training facilities, but poor youth facilities, which is kind of an interesting contrast. Like, you really want to be in the senior team, Chris. Please be in the senior team. Has he had any crazy injuries? No. Now, let's go take a look at those attributes. Couple interesting things going on here. So he's had 2 of his physical attributes go up by 2, and that's stamina and strength. The rest of the ones I'm going to mention are all up by 1, but you'll note he is an either-footed left winger, but he now has this right attacking winger like as a yellow dot. So that means it's not a red dot. It's not 1 appearance. He's gotten a couple appearances at least. We'll take a look at the form to see if we're going to pick up where that was. But that's that either-footedness. So it's kind of interesting. He's being utilized in multiple ways here. But his crossing, dribbling, free kick taking, long shots, long throws, and passing are all up. All good things. I mean, long throws as a 7, who really cares for your winger to have that? But okay. The rest are good for somebody who's going to play in the wing, crossing and dribbling in particular, and passing. And then mentals, his composure, decisions, determination, flair, leadership, positioning, and vision are all up by 1. That positioning really needs to increase, in my opinion. We'll love to see his concentration go up as well. And then physically, acceleration, agility, balance, jumping reach, and pace are the other ones that are all up by 1. So let's go take a look at the form here. Where has he picked up those minutes? They're playing him as this is the senior team, right? They're playing him as why is that stuck there? Inverted winger on the left. Okay, so that's going back until December. So again, maybe he got a couple appearances. Let's check Nepal. All his Nepalese appearances are attacking midfielder on the left. That's going back to last season. Those are all on the left for Nepal's under-23s. The under-21s. Oh my. In November, he was used. Again, this is in probably their... I was going to say, was that like a continental? But that's probably in their league, right? He was probably an emergency, 76-minute injury coverage left wing back. He played a couple times as a midfielder and a center back. What is happening? That's really odd. But what we're not seeing is the attacking mid right. So maybe I just missed that last episode, or maybe it was like, at the first part of the season they used him there. That's kind of interesting. Center back and left back, though. I'm not so sure about that. All right, we got Peter Doyle up next. He's not grown, and he's only added 4 pounds. He's only up to 134 pounds. Goodness me. goodness me. Still Braga, so that's good. Still he was a breakthrough prospect. He's now a fringe player on $2,000 a week versus 1.1 grand a week, and his contract is 2 years longer until 2027. So that's new. He signed it this February, so it relatively just happened. No release clause or anything like that that's happened. Did he get any appearance? Oh no. I mean, it makes sense. You breakthrough prospect and then you become, a fringe player. You would hope you'd get a little bit more. Man, we were thinking he was like the thing, right? With the vegetarian Lions, which is probably my highlight of the series thus far, to be completely honest with you, is finding out about that team. 4 league substitutions, a goal on a 6-7-2, and it's really hard to tell. We'll go look at the form to see, is that for lengthy periods of time as a sub, or is it like one sub where he got a rating and 3 that he didn't? I guess he wouldn't be on a 6.72. It'd probably be like a 6.7, 6.8, something like that. So he's gotten a couple appearances with decent enough minutes to get a rating, I guess. 1 cup sub on a 6.5, not great. He's up to 13 international starts and 2 subs with 2 goals, 3 assists on a 6.93. He's got 16 caps. He had 6, so he's gotten 10 more, and he's picked up his first 2 goals. His value is up 50% from 245 to 375, but it's really not that great, to be honest with you. Did he have a crazy injury? Nope. That's not ideal. Okay, so that explains. He's at actual minutes. So 2 6.8 and a 6.3, and then some other substitutions somewhere else for Braga before January. But his real, so he signs the contract right before this game, and he's going to be expecting to start getting some minutes. So maybe it's just a little early for him to be getting a ton of minutes, but maybe coming into this season you start seeing every other game he's coming on, maybe. But that's honestly a little disappointing. All right, let's take a look. Again, Braga, with their facilities being excellent, has he had significant change? Let's look. It's really just not what I was expecting, to be completely honest with you. His balance is up 2. The only technical attributes he's had changes to were his free kick taking and heading, which are both up by 1. And you would think, right, moving from a club in the small leagues of Africa to Portugal with excellent facilities where you're not getting minutes, well, you must be training, right? Like, surely you're training, right? And he hasn't had some crazy injury. So to not get a bigger boost to the technicals now is concerning. The mentals, anticipation, composure, decisions, leadership, vision, work rate, all up by 1. Agility, balance, pace, and stamina, all up by, or in strength, up by 1. Or no, I think I told you one of those was by 2. The balance was by 2. That is not how I thought that was going to go. I was thinking, wow, big jump in his first year in Africa at the Vegetarian Lions, and then he moves to a club with actual facilities, playing meaningful games. Okay, you're not playing meaningful games. Cool, scrap that idea. Well, now that means you have a ton of time to train in all of these excellent facilities, but you're not really seeing that either. And you've signed a contract extension, now for 4 more years. Really needs to develop, I think, in this next upcoming episode. We'll find out. All right, next to last player here, but before we take a deeper look at Andrew Wood, which I know you're already looking, so just focus on my words, if you wouldn't mind to hit that like button. You're really deep into this episode, and my friends, we've had over 700 people watch the first 3 episodes, but we've yet to break 100 likes on 2 of them. So it really does help the channel. If you're enjoying this, if you've come back, 700 of you have come back to say yeah, I want to see this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It really does help the series and me and the channel out. Thanks for considering doing that. All right, now that you've ignored my words because you're looking at Andrew Wood, what's going on here? Okay, Steaua Bucharest still there. He's put on 6 pounds and not grown any. I'm going to keep monitoring that. He's only gone up €25 a week. He's gone from a breakthrough prospect to a fringe player. His contract end date is the same, so they've just kind of, he got that, 5% yearly wage rise probably, and maybe they promised him in his original contract he'd go from breakthrough to fringe. Maybe. Has he earned it? Has he earned it, my friends? Let's take a look. Oh, that's not good. one league start with a goal, and it was a penalty on a 7.5. And that's in the reserves team. That's in Steaua Bucharest 2, in Liga 2. And then in the senior team league, in Casa Liga 1, he has a substitute appearance on a 6.6. And he's got 2 cup starts with a goal and assist on a 7.75. So probably like the beginning stages of the Romanian Cup. That's really not good. Again, it's early days, right? You have to keep reminding myself, right? He's 19. He was 18 last season. He was a breakthrough prospect. So it wasn't like they signed him to be a star player like some of the other ones. And he's got a broken collarbone. I just noticed that. So how long has he been out for that? But he really needs some minutes. These players need minutes. Great training facilities and youth facilities. They came in second last season. How bad was the injury? Okay, 2 weeks and another, what did it say? 2 to 4 weeks? Okay, so it's not like he's not been out for months. Prior to that, okay, he did have that was previous. So he's broken a bone, but he's not like broken his leg where he's been out for ages. No international caps or international youth caps. Ooh, that's not really fantastic, is it? Does he have a... He has no release clause that can extend his contract by a year. Let's look at his attributes, I guess. Okay, at least he's training. So all of these are up by 1 except his strength. The last one is up by 2. So at least this part is good, right? He's working on being the number 9 and some time at number 10. Okay, so that attacking mid-center role. But he's got crossing, dribbling, finishing, first touch, free kicking, heading, long shots, long throws, marking, passing, and technique all up by 1. I guess it would have been easier to say the only ones on the technical side that didn't go up were his penalty taking, his tackling, and his corners. Everything else is up by 1. He's got his first bright green attribute in first touch. Mentals, it's about, 70-30 split. So the ones that went up: bravery, concentration, determination, off the ball, positioning, teamwork, vision, and work rate, all up by 1. Okay. Physicals: acceleration, agility, balance, pace, stamina, all up by 1. And as I noted, the strength up by 2. So at least he's not getting games, but at least he's training. So you saying there's a chance? It just, I don't know. It feels like he's got 2 years left on his deal. They can do an automatic extension, but it seems like this upcoming year for Andrew Wood is kind of the make it or break it year, right? Is, hey, you really, like, he has to get, a minimum of 15 appearances? Really? Now, I know, they got him on a free, so they don't have that, like, we paid $600,000, or we got to get a return on our investment here. You got him on a free, and you're not paying him much. But getting, whatever it was, if you combine, the substitute and the start here, and you only get 2 total appearances, that's not nearly enough. Want to see a lot more from him. Let's hope he gets it. Last but definitely not least, it's the Canadian Messi, my friends. Still at Calgary FC. He's doubled his wages, gone from $300 to $625, from a breakthrough prospect to a fringe player. Contract got extended. The contract end date was December 2023, so they had to make a decision. So when did this get signed? Last November. So they saw it coming. So what was that? A 3-year deal with the option to extend 1 year, and a foreign club can come in, MLS, and hopefully anybody, and buy him for $975. But that's, 5 times his current value is the other thing. He's put on 2 pounds, hasn't grown an inch. He is the Canadian Messi, potentially. Still just has the red dot on center back, so maybe that was just a one-time thing, right? Like, we just played him. We had an emergency situation, or maybe it was like the commenter noted. Maybe there's a thing in CPL where you have to have a certain number of under 21 players, under 21 players, or under 20 players, or something like that. Homegrown talent, and it was like we had to take one off and therefore put one on, and that was the only way we could make it work. Maybe. 15 starts, 7 subs. Again, this is back half of last season, and then we'll have to look at the first half of this season. So ends up with 15 and 7, a goal and assist on a 6.8. That's okay. you know, and then the first half of this season, he's got 8-2. So that's about half of what he had last season, right? Like if he had 15, he's got starts and he's got 8 this far this season with a goal and an assist on a 6.87. 2 international starts on a 6.4 at the internet. He's already making appearances for Canada at the international level after getting 2 more under 20 caps and 1 more under 20 goal. He's being used as a deep line playmaker by Calgary FC, pretty much all the way down the list here. For Canada, he's playing as a deep line playmaker. Okay, that was okay, so he's looks like that was in this friendly. I think the other one was the Cayman Islands, maybe. We can't tell. He didn't make the Gold Cup squad. You wouldn't really expect that now, would you? So, you know, like, he started, but got a 6.2. I mean, at least you got to go to Turks and Caicos, right? At least you got to get a vacation out of the deal, right? Like, that. Let's look at the bright side. What is happening here? Oh, they split it into 2 different seasons. They got a fall season and a spring season. So they finished 8th and 5th. Whatever that means in Canada. Okay, well maybe he's developing because they've got average facilities. Let's take a look at those attributes. It's all right. Crossing, finishing, passing, tackling, technique, all up by 1. You know, those things are good for a deep line playmaker, right? You got to be able to, I mean, the finishing maybe not so much, but the passing and the technique, and if you're going to be deep lying, you probably need to know how to tackle a little bit. No, his tackling's gone down. Sorry, from an 11 to a 10. Sorry, I misread that. That's not great. Everything else is up. I just rechecked it. Cool. Decisions, flair, leadership, vision, and work rate are all up by 1, which is, you know, all right. His jumping reach has doubled, my friends, from a 1 to a 2. His natural fitness is up by 1, as well as his pace and stamina and strength. Really feel like he needs to move. Or get minutes. The fact that he's not getting minutes, but he's made 2 international appearances for Canada, is, I think, a problem. I mean, he's getting all right minutes, I guess, but, like, I don't know. I'm kind of meh on that. And he's not had, you know, any like super crazy long-term, like month type injuries. He's just been okay. Thus far, they've all stuck with Pekka. Will they stick the whole way? Highest value currently, Josh Payne at Juve. That makes sense. 18.25. Spartak Moscow, 3.6 for Joe Bridgeman. You know, so we've got players in the you know, the 7 and 8 figure range, so that's good. We also have some players at the bottom end of the 6 figure range, which is not so good. If we go back to our short list here, just looking at the positionings, so pretty much where we were last time. The only addition appears to be, I can't remember if Liam had picked up that red dot on the right back. Maybe that's like an emergency situation standpoint. And then, as noted, Chris Carpenter picking up the right winger and, like, apparently having played there more than once because it's a yellow dot. So, like, or he's just, I don't know. Surely it's not just training there. Like, he has to have made some appearances. My friends, if you've enjoyed this, again, if you could hit that like button. I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of those moves, and has your opinion changed? Do you think there's a new leader of the pack? Because, again, I thought for sure Peter Doyle, right? Like, all that development in that first season, I was like, man, that's gotta be it. And then you move to Portugal, you're like, surely, like he's made the big move, right? Like, surely he's the one. But then now I'm not so, I'm honestly, FM's keeping me on my toes. I don't know about you, but if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button that's popping up over there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we're pushing on towards 6,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot if we could get there. And again, if you want to support content like this financially, you can watch all the ads or become a YouTube member or patreon.com/grayhairgaming. The links to the membership and the Patreon are in the description below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.